Hello and welcome back to the Attacking 2 podcast, coming to you on a Monday afternoon from foggy Vienna on a bad hair day. We are joined by, of course, Laurenz from 100% Chelsea. Hopefully Max is joining us, and of course I'm joined by Jimmy, who is my co-host at the Attacking 2 podcast. We are excited to talk about Chelsea. Maybe we are going to talk about the Newcastle game later on, but it's first and foremost, it's striking options, it's midfield options. It looks likely that Leandro Paredes is joining us in that transfer window. And with that being said, we are just jumping straight into it. Coming to you first, Laurenz. What do we know so far from the Leandro Paredes situation? Is he likely to join? What did Chelsea put in for an offer? What does it look like at the moment?
Well, as far as I'm aware, first of all, thank you for having me. And about Paredes as well. Obviously, he plays for St. Petersburg. I'm not sure if you've covered him before. But yeah, obviously, he plays for St. Petersburg, Argentinian centre midfielder. Reportedly, we've made something around £26 million offer, something like that, 26 point something. And it is, apparently looking likely that he will join us. Obviously, Cesc Fabregas has already left for Monaco, so we certainly do need a replacement. If Fabregas was still here, there would be more of a question whether these rumours are actually true. But with that being the case, it does look, at least somewhat likely. Although St. Petersburg, I just seen the tweet a few minutes ago, tweeted that kind of Paredes has joined up with them again today for some sort of medical thing. Obviously, there was reports of him flying somewhere, and then some people kind of made out stories. Oh, there's no planes from Argentina to Moscow today, or to St. Petersburg, so he has to go to London because people have apparently never heard of stop-offs. But so that is obviously the talk. How much to read into it is difficult to say, but it is said that we've apparently made that offer. I think it's quite serious. He looks like a pretty decent player, and I wouldn't hate it. We simply need a replacement. 26 million, whatever it is, even if it goes up to 30 million, is not that deep these days. Like, that's what, 10 million compared to 5 years ago. Like, it's really not that much. And we need someone in that position. He's 24 years old. I'm sure he can improve as well. So, it certainly wouldn't be something that I'm against. And also, it's actually a position where we, in my opinion, don't have a young player that could fill that role in the future. It's not like when we, signed Bakayoko when we had Chalobah to play there. It's not like when, obviously, with Pulisic and we had Kalamots-Nodoi, or when we signed Barkley and we had Loftus-Cheek, or, we don't really have someone there. People speak about Ampadu a little bit to play there, but to me, that's not him. Maybe the Kante role in midfield, but not the Regista role. I don't see Ampadu doing that. So that's why I have absolutely no complaints about signing someone. And if it is Paredes, well, I'm all right with that.
Well, I'm not only all right, I'm excited, but how excited we can get is a question I'm asking Jimmy, because he wrote a brilliant piece on Leandro Paredes. You should definitely check that out. Follow him on Twitter, and you will find out where to go to read that. But Jimmy, as you had a huge amount of like watching games, having research on him, what can we get excited about when we are talking about Leandro Paredes as a player?
First of all, thanks for mentioning the article, and welcome to Max, who we can see his computer now we see him.
Oh, yes. Sorry.
Well, there's a lot of things we can look forward to when we would or will sign Paredes. He has many features that we don't have currently in our team. One being this combativeness, so this pure aggression, these crunching tackles, this, well, I don't want to swear too much, but this cunt personality, like Diego Costa once had. And that is something I think we could really need, because we have lacked fight in our team since he left. So that would be one thing. The other, what I absolutely adore about Paredes is his low-driven passes. So if you watch him frequently, then you can see that he has this special technique of passing the ball, and he more or less adjusts his body to make the opponent who's pressing onto him think that he's going to pass it completely somewhere different, and then bam, it just cuts through defense and midfield. They're attacking players that are pressing and the midfield, and their attackers then just are clear on goal. It's fantastic, and I think that due to him also being able to score some crackers, and being better defensively, he would be a very good alternative to Jorginho, who hasn't been as good as he was in the first few months. I'm not saying he's been really bad, like people have been calling for him to be dropped. That's ridiculous. We need a regista, and I don't think we have to elaborate on why that's the case anymore, because all these Yadaz saying we want Kante there, that's just, I can't understand that. We need someone, and Paredes would be a great option. He is that mixture of Jorginho, Fabregas, and something like this hard-working SCN. One could even say his lack of pace is the only real downside to him, I'd say. But yeah, that just a quick, brief overview of Leandro Paredes.
Well, that obviously will help a lot of listeners and viewers to understand better why we need Paredes, because he's a name floating about for many weeks now. And, well, he hasn't got maybe the best pedigree to him, has played for Roma, has played for Zenit St. Petersburg, hasn't obviously reached his peak at 24 years of age. You can't really demand it of a player, but maybe he will reach exactly that. And talking about the one thing, how his passing works, I think that can be a vital asset to us, because what I've seen so far this season, when we lacked pace in passing, like we're moving the ball way too slowly, and that obviously makes it easy for deep sitting opposition. And we've had it against Newcastle on certain occasions, as well as we tend to have it like every week in the last couple of games, and that obviously can help us. But coming to you, Max, as you've joined us now a little bit later than we've started, Leandro Paredes, excited?
Yeah, I am, but I don't think it's going to go through now. Sorry about that. I'm just trying to. There you are. I don't think it's going to go through now, because then it's just put a post up that they're doing their medical. So he's currently in Russia doing his medical for Zenit. So it looks a bit strange to me now, because if it was getting done, the deal, I think he'd be in London trying to get the deal done, but we'll see. It looks like it's just took a step back now.
But let me understand the situation. Why would he do a medical at Zenit when he's a player of Zenit?
No, they're doing it for every player. If you have a look, they've put a tweet out
all right.
20 minutes ago. Yeah, so they're doing it for like.
Start of the season or something. Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah.
I think it's like half season thing. I think they're still going on, but yeah, it's just a bit weird why he would still be doing a medical for them. But but I really want him. He's an exciting player. Like Jimmy said, he's done a great piece on him, and he's highlighted all his key attributes. So he'll be great for us.
Yeah, hopefully he joins us. One player who seemed to be joining us but doesn't do so anymore is Barella. Even though there was talks that Cagliari already signed Nandes as a replacement for him. Why did that turn cold, or what is the latest on that one, Jimmy? Do you know anything?
I'll be honest, I'm not quite sure. I know that I think I read Laurenz tweet that he's getting some kids or something like that. I think it was you, if I'm not mistaken.
That was me, but it's okay.
Okay, sorry, mate. Well, Twitter feed, it's a jungle in there. No, I think he's got a second kid on the way, and that's why he wants to stay or something like that. I'm not sure if it's about his chances, because he does have that connection to Zola, but honestly, maybe Laurenz can say more on that matter. I'm not sure about that.
I mean, the only thing that I heard is obviously it was always reported that both Napoli and ourselves, and at some points even Inter was mentioned as being interested in him. When there is talk about another child, maybe he just prefers to stay in Italy and then would rather go to Napoli. I always thought that we needed a backup to Kante, because I don't think we have one at this stage. We have like 3 players for that left centre mid role, but we basically have only Kante for the right one. If it is right for Europa League games and cup games, of course, Barkley, Loftus-Cheek, Kovacic, whoever, they can all play there. But say if Kante was suspended or injured, we needed someone like Kante to play, and we don't really have that at the moment. And then obviously now that Fabregas has left, we need a backup regista. So I did kind of think it would be good, would we sign 2 midfielders, one for each of those 2 positions. I always thought it was a little bit strange. I mean, as much as they might be good players, in my head it's starting to annoy me that we keep trying to sign players from the Serie A. We just sign players from somewhere else now. Like, I mean, Zappacosta wasn't that great. Alonso Imoni was all right for a while, I guess, but yeah, you know what I mean. So why exactly it has gone cold, I don't really know. I think it's just the fact of Chelsea sorting out priorities. So if basically there is time remaining at the end of the window, we might look back at someone like Barella. But I think right now it's more of a priority to sort out the striker situation and someone like Paredes.
Yeah, Barella seems like to be the Golovin of this transfer window. Like that can turn out to be just a no story at the end of the day. But talking about one player who is also very who likes his kids and likes to put out like Instagram stories and something like that about his kids and his wife is Alvaro Morata, but not. It seems likely that is not going to be the case in a Chelsea shirt anymore, as he is somewhere off to Spain. Like there is stories about Sevilla. Well, that obviously did turn out not to be the case because they signed Munir El Haddadi. But now it seems to be.
Happened. That's actually
1 million. Yeah.
Yeah.
What, on a permanent deal?
Oh, that's
Yeah,
I'm
1
not
mil.
sure. Is it a loan or is it permanent?
It's a permanent for 1 million. I don't know how they've done it, but literally 1 million.
bloody hell.
Euros.
I completely missed that.
Yesterday, I
Barcelona
think,
just getting Ben Yedder now, like in the summer. That
I
the
thought
only thing that
Brad
makes
was
sense.
going to
No, I think
Barcelona.
they bought a centre back, but I don't know what his name is on.
Yeah, but he was from Valencia, surely, right? Murillo.
Oh yeah, okay.
I thought maybe some sort
Yeah,
of
that's
deal
it,
with
Murillo,
Sevilla that makes sense for them to get Munir that cheap, because otherwise that doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
Alright.
but anyhow, just the deal happened, and that's why Alvaro Morata is not going to go there. But Atletico Madrid seems to be likely. That can actually be some interesting move, as Alvaro Morata played half of his life for Real Madrid, but now joining the arch rivals. What is it likely though? For that reason, what do we know at this moment in time, Max?
Well, I heard they were after Laurenz or Morata, so I guess they're just looking for
That
a
is
backup.
so sad.
Quality. Yeah.
That is so sad.
I know, so I don't really get it. I don't know if it's just one of those random news you hear, because I doubt they'd go for Barcelona or Fernando Llorente, because they're both not proven themselves in the Premier League. Well, Llorente's done all right, but he's like third striker off at Juventus, so no, Tottenham. So I don't know what happened. We're looking obviously to sell Morata, but Barcelona won't want to pay a lot, so I don't know what's going to happen really. So I don't know if you've heard anything different.
Not really, but I've never heard that we actually looking for a permanent deal, but rather a loan. Isn't that the case, Laurenz?
I think so as well. I think it's similar, like a case similar to what happens quite a lot in January. You kind of loan someone out until the end of the season and then they sign him. Similar to what we had with Torres, and similar to what Juventus are trying to make us do with Higuain, basically. But there's obviously like the Sevilla sporting director basically admitted that Morata was just too expensive. That's why they decided against him, obviously wage-wise. Atletico is a little bit of an odd one. I mean, they've got Costa, they've got Griezmann, they've got that Croatian guy, they've got Kalinic, that's the one. Yeah. And they've got someone else that can play striker. Carrera is mostly the wing, I guess, but he used to be kind of a centre forward, second striker kind of thing. So why on earth they'd need a striker, even with them playing kind of a 4-4-2? I don't really get. Unless Costa is going China now, I don't know. Yeah. Obviously, there's talks about Bayern Munich being after him. Apparently, even Dortmund. He's definitely not going to Germany. Let's be honest. He just wouldn't want to go to Germany. He's either going to Italy or to Spain. That's just simple fact. I don't know. Maybe we can still sort something out and send Morata to like AC Milan or something. There's not any rumours. That's just me speculating. But yeah, I mean, it would make sense helping them out with us getting Higuain possibly. So yeah.
Can I ask you guys, what would you prefer, like a full sale or a loan?
Oh well, I take it away. I go for a loan at this moment in time, because there's not a really big amount of money on the table if we're going to sell him now. It's about 20 million, I reckon. So that's for the fortune he's cost us, and for the little that he delivered to us, then short sell him for that kind of money would just be stupid. And I think not our boards, for everything they do wrong, they always look on the financial side, and they can't be as stupid to sell him for that kind of money.
Oh, you jinxed it now. You jinxed it now. They're going to sell him for 20 mil.
But also, like, especially with the fact that we are clearly interested in loaning Higuain out, I don't think we're going to sell Morata until we have actually signed a permanent replacement. So whether that's just a loan from Morata, then we don't want Higuain anymore, and then, I don't know, we try to get Icardi or whoever, doesn't really matter now. But when that doesn't come off, we're going to kind of have to get Morata back, and then kind of, just see what we can sell him for, depending on the situation. But I don't know, I just feel a bit bad for Morata. He's just, he's not a bad footballer. It's just his head is just not right. he's not bad. He's just not doing it. I feel bad for the guy, I can't lie.
Yeah, true story. Jimmy, come on. Talk to me.
He has shown it, and I agree with Will. Think of that Bayern Munich goal. Think of all the great goals he has scored. That goal against Stoke, although he did outrun Darren Fletcher, that isn't necessarily something big, but nevertheless, he has shown some great quality. I mean, as said, that Bayern Munich goal will always be in my mind, and he was great for us. I mean, that's so sad that from those first few months where he was just scoring the whole time, given with his head mostly, but still, and now it's all gone to shit. So I don't know. I did hear that Atletico would want an option to buy, which makes sense. And I think because Laurenz mentioned why would they want him as they have a lot of strikers, that's true. But Diego Costa hasn't been scoring at all. He's got like 1 goal in 17 games. And Kalinic is leaving. That's pretty much certain. So then that would leave them with, well, I'm not going to count Costa. Yeah, they'd have Griezmann and Costa, who is not performing, and they have 2 up front. So it would make sense that they want another striker if Kalinic leaves, which is looking very, very likely.
Didn't they only sign Kalinic in the summer?
Yes, they did.
It was a weird one anyway, because
it never made sense.
Milan, and he has disciplinary issues, and I think, was it Marseille or something that's inquired about him? I'm not sure, but there are some teams interested, and he hasn't been good for Atletico. And I think Morata could go there despite being a Real Madrid lad, because if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong here, he was actually an Atletico youth player, really early at one stage. So, like, as a teenager, very, very young teenager, start of his teen years, I heard, I'm not sure, I haven't looked that up, but that would, of course, then explain why he's open to doing it and, burning bridges with Real Madrid. But, in short now, to summarize, I think a loan would be good because of the transfer ban.
Yeah. And come on.
I was about to say about Marseille. It was just he won't go to Marseille because I think the Balotelli deal is just like.
But he's been shit this season as well. He hasn't scored in 18 games or something like that.
He ain't been good, man.
Which is ridiculous because the last 2 years he's been on fire for Nice. So, yeah.
Just to interject.
Strikers. Sorry?
Just to interject, you were right. Morata, according to Wikipedia, at least spent his time at Atletico Madrid from 2005 to 2007.
He did. Well, that would explain that link then, or him being open to joining there. But,
yeah. I would also say it would make sense for them as Morata. I can see him as a kind of, a B-Tech Torres past the age of 30. He's kind of that player. Like the player Torres was for them 2 years ago, Morata can be now, coming from the bench, maybe.
But we paid 70 million for him.
Yeah, sad enough, but what I don't see, or what I don't get, what I don't get is why don't we use him as a make weight for the Higuain deal? Like, it looks perfectly set up, or is just AC Milan not keen on him? Because we want to get Higuain, at least it looks like that, and it seems more likely. Max nods his head. Why?
No, I just, the swap between Morata and Higuain just seems a bit silly. Morata's about 5 years younger, and I know he's not performing as well, but I think we can just get more money. It'll be more profitable if we sell him instead of putting him swap deal. So I don't think that's a bad move for business. I can't count.
Also, we're not trying to really swap with AC Milan because they just have him on loan from Juventus, really. So if we're gonna sort anything out for Morata, we're kind of trying to do it with Juventus anyway. Because at least whenever Gattuso has spoken pre and post games, he's always mentioned, well, the players kind of wants to leave. So it really all depends on the player, Juventus, and obviously Chelsea as well. So I don't think they have much of a hand left in this anymore, to be honest. So yeah, I mean, but like Max said with Morata, obviously. And like, you spoke about earlier with the possible transfer ban, if we do get Higuain, I still don't understand why we're not getting rid of Giroud, because he's also 31. Why do we need two 31-year-olds? Just get rid of one of them.
Yeah. Now Batshuayi's gone on loan to Monaco for 6 months.
Yeah.
Tammy Abraham's on loan. Like, it's a bit. Our striker situation is like stupid. I don't get it at all.
It's been a mismanagement, that's true. I really have to say the board should have done better. It's a complete shit show at the moment.
Can I just bring this up just because I'm interested in what you guys think about this? What do you make of Tammy Abraham deciding to stay at Villa rather than going to Wolves for the remainder of the season? Because to me, that is ridiculous. Like, if he ever had ambitions to make it at Chelsea, I'm like, what are you doing? I mean, we saw Bamford what he did in the Championship.
And you had a good take on that. I think in the last podcast or something like that. I think didn't you explain why that'd be a bad choice for him to go to Wolves, if I'm not mistaken?
Sorry?
Say it again.
He can't play for Wolves this year because he's already played for 2 clubs. I thought that he would have to be next year. Well, that's what I thought I heard.
Yeah, but apart from that,
Swansea.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, can hear you.
Okay. Apart from that, that's true, Max. I think they need a special permission from UEFA, or FIFA.
Yeah.
But, Andy, what I was saying is that I think in the last podcast or last week, at least one of them, you actually had a good explanation why he shouldn't join Wolves.
Yeah, of course I had, but like Wolves, of course, I think first of all, Wolves wouldn't take him on a loan. They would want at least some kind of clause that would tie him onto Wolves for a long time, because I think that the likelihood is not there because of one reason, that the Wolves they don't really have a striker on a permanent basis, and Raúl Jimenez guy who's playing for them up front, who is delivering the goods at the moment. I think 7 or 8 goals this season, which is not that bad, is actually just on loan from Benfica. And if they want to make the deal permanent, they have to put in an offer of 40 million, I think. 40 million is the clause. So he's just not worth that kind of money. So they're looking for a striker in summer, and Tammy Abraham could exactly be that. But they wouldn't want him for another loan signing. But
it wasn't them that rejected Tammy Abraham. It was Tammy Abraham that rejected Wolves.
At least according to what I read. For the
it was a loan move. If that's wrong, fair enough. But I thought it was a loan move, and he rejected that. And if that is the case, what I thought was happening, I don't get it, because you just, I guess, settling in at Villa and stuff like that, and having to settle in again in the Wolves team that already have a striker that's doing somewhat well. I mean, and I don't know, Max obviously mentioned Swansea, but isn't that a season thing more than a year thing? Because obviously he played for Swansea in 2018, not 2019. So
I don't know what it was, but I saw something that he played for 2 clubs in a year, so he would have to he couldn't play this for another club this year or something. It was a bit.
Swansea was this the Chelsea reserves, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, was it?
He played for the reserves, and he played for Aston Villa, and that's 2 teams.
But wasn't there talk about that FIFA or UEFA have already granted permission for that? It was just like that's as close as I've heard that it was.
That I don't know, but maybe they didn't grant it, and that's why he's there, or he just decided, hey, I don't want to give up my starting spot for. He's good, as Andy said in the last podcast or 2 podcasts ago, whatever. He will definitely not be first choice. So why would he give that up? Just to have, maybe a few substitute appearances, because the League Cup's over. The Christmas schedule is done. He's going to have only 1 game a week now for Wolves, apart, disregarding maybe they have a big run in the FA Cup, but that's not enough games for him to play. So I think they only play with one striker as well. It wouldn't make sense. Maybe that's what he's realised himself.
I guess so. To me, it's just like if he ever wants to make a Chelsea, he has to back himself to, you know, get ahead of Jimenez within a few weeks and actually play ahead of him. If he actually backs himself to be good enough for Chelsea one day, because you know, if he wants to be good enough for Chelsea, he has to be better than Raúl Jimenez. Let's be honest.
But it is hard just going straight into a team and getting into the team sheet after a guy's been there for like 6 months, who knows everybody. You know, he's always automatically going to get the first pick, and definitely if he's scoring at the moment, they won't take him out. So it mostly was just the best decision to stay at Aston Villa.
No.
I just thought it from the first place. Going to the Championship was stupid, but yeah.
Well, he did go to Swansea and did do really poorly in the Prem. So maybe it was because
I thought he'd get a step up now, because obviously, you know, you kind of hope for a bit more of a mid-table team. That's why, you know, if you would get games at Wolves, that would be ideal, because Swansea's obviously so low down that doesn't really prepare him to play for Chelsea anyway. It's completely different. It doesn't prepare you at all, because like you play against teams that attack rather than you being the one that attacks.
But Laurenz, I would even say it's better for him to play to play Championship football at a good level. I think he's level with Billy Sharp on the top of the top scoring, like 17 goals or something. So even if he doesn't play up to the standards or against players of the standards he should play against at this moment in time, it's better to readapt every half a season and then maybe get a half decent loan spell out of him at Wolves. So I'm in favour of him staying at Villa, if I'm honest.
I know what you mean. I'm just worried about thinking back to Patrick Bamford, really.
How about Batshuayi? Are you guys happy about him going on loan to Monaco?
Well, I said I would have been happy to have him around for half a season now that we have our striker woes, but yeah, I reckon he gets some game time there, so that would of course benefit him. What do you think, Jimmy?
You mean Batshuayi? Yeah, no. I think it wouldn't have made sense. Okay, let me rephrase that. I would have wanted him to come back to Chelsea because I think he could have done bits here. You know, he's a great impact sub. He has shown that he can score. But, you know, he's had his best time in France. And if he wants to, you know, regain some form after a dreadful spell at Valencia, although that wasn't his, you know, only his fault, then why not? You know, he's got Fabregas there now, who's a Chelsea boy, in my opinion. So maybe that he'll build him up, give him some good assists. He'll come back confident. Because let's not forget, Sarri more or less showed a clear indication that he doesn't. Both in the summer by not really using him and straight away loaning him out, although he just returned from international duty from the World Cup. And also in January, and the same for Tammy Abraham. So if he doesn't want them, then there's no point really us fans wanting him to have him, because you know we have to trust in Sarri in that regard.
Basically, what it is, we have to give him a loan that makes him good, and then we sell him, right? Like we should have sold him in the summer after his great spell at Dortmund, because we probably would have gotten double for him then than we would get now.
If we don't trust him, then then we should do that. And Monaco, I think, could do good there. I know they're struggling, but they need a striker. Falcao isn't performing, and he'll get service. And France isn't the most competitive league, so who knows?
Bloody Golovin is playing striker there these days. What?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
God.
Last night.
But they still have decent youngsters and Ronnie Lopez and Jovetic and Falcao on their books. So
and Goebbels. Don't forget Goebbels.
Yeah, but still, I think it could exactly be the same thing as in Valencia, that he sits on the bench again and it all goes to shit. But yeah, anyway, I think I want to wrap this one up on the regards of Higuain if he finally comes to us. Jimmy said it's a piece of mismanagement, and I agree with him, because once you start to loan all your players out and all the other clubs will recognize that, and you will get marked off in the transfer market. That's for sure. So maybe all the time that is now running about and we have not finished the deal is down to maybe Juventus is getting the last piece of money out of us because they are so they know we need him terribly, and there's basically no other striker about that is likely to join us. So is it a case of that, or is it just why hasn't Higuain joined us yet, Max?
I think he said he wanted to join us because he wanted to come back with Sarri. Yeah, it was just we want to loan him, and they're looking for 30 million transfer. I think that's the main issue I've been seeing anyway. So I think he does want to come here, but it's the fact that Juventus only want to sell him, and we don't want to buy him.
Yeah, like Juventus want like a permanent transfer in the summer, like basically just take over the loan that was agreed with AC Milan, loan him until the end of the season, then sign him for 32 million, and they want to make us do the same thing. Well, we just want him on a loan just in case it doesn't go right. Basically, I think that's the hold up at the moment, and we're trying to convince them of just loaning him to us, possibly even for 18 months. I've heard. If the 6 months is not fine for them, basically, because they don't want him back. That's the main thing. They just don't want Higuain back on their books because he was on big wages with them. And I think that's the main hold up. Whether we will sort that out, we'll just have to wait and see. But there comes a point when you just, you have to make the plunge into the water. You bottled it before, you have to sort it out somehow, even if it makes your wallet a bit, emptier than you want it to be.
So after the bullshit they pulled off with Juan Cuadrado, they could at least do us that favour that they, loan him to us after we loaned him there for like 3 years or something like that, which is absolutely bloody ridiculous.
Could use him right now as well.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure about Cuadrado, but, Juventus are a miserable bunch because with the Alexandro transfer, them being arseholes in regard to Pogba, I really don't like Juventus, I got to say. It's just... They're not as bad as Napoli, but it's not nice negotiating with them, is it?
Mm.
Yeah, Morata was hard, wasn't it?
That was another one. Yeah, true.
Thank God we didn't sign him.
Well,
I don't hate him, but he should be anywhere near our team. Sorry, but
well, he's a good player, but you're right. I mean, we're doing perfectly well without him, and Ampadu's going to be twice the player he'll ever be. So,
I don't know about that. Too early to tell.
Are you not on the Ampadu hype train, Max?
No, he's alright, but I ain't going to say he's going to be twice the player.
Oh, well, yeah, you're right. Thrice the player.
Of course he is. I mean, it's all a bit of a mess. But I mean, even Christensen isn't getting games, so why should we have and play Regani? There's no point.
Yeah, but Sarri did say in his, was it the post-match conference yesterday or on Saturday, that now Ampadu, Hudson-Odoi and Christensen will be getting more game time. So we'll have to wait and see. Maybe they will. You never know. I mean, he should have rotated more, and if he does do that now, then fine, Then they'll
who I would sign? I'd sign Godin. Try to get him on a year contract. I think it's good.
He's off. Still got it. And also, I think there was that report that David Luiz isn't going to sign a new contract. That makes it even more important that Christensen will stay. And maybe that is the reason why Christensen will now think, oh, okay, if he's going in the summer, might as well stay. Makes sense.
Yeah, but let me speak about the Godin one that Max raised there. Hasn't Godin already reached an agreement with some Italian club?
Inter? Yeah, I think so.
I don't think it's exactly done. I think Inter's are favourites for him, but I don't think it's done.
Yeah. Okay. But does Higuain suit Sarri ball though? Isn't he like the exact opposite? Isn't he like, all right, he's one of the best defenders in the world, but can he actually play football? Basically, obviously, I'm sounding harsh here, but you know what I mean.
No, you're right. Yeah, it's a valid question. I'm not sure. I haven't watched him enough to say that.
Because, and even if you did, Atletico Madrid don't play football like that. So even if you did watch him, you would know. So.
Yeah, but he's just one of the best defenders in the world. So it's
of course.
I'm going to use him for that, not the passing aspect or something like that.
But sorry, go on.
Yeah, he's basically the exact opposite of what David Luiz is. I think he's an organizer, and David Luiz is a madhead. So I would actually take him over Luiz at this moment in time.
There's no chance. Yeah. Absolutely. I know you don't. I know we massively disagree on David Luiz, but we have to get the guy to sign a new deal. Like, it's ridiculous. How can we let him go? He's so good constantly. We've only conceded like 3 goals in how long? Second best defense in the league. Second least goals conceded.
He's not a very good defender though. He's a good passer. He's good on the ball. you know.
Well, but why are we
he,
second best
at the end
defense
of the
in the
day,
league then if he starts every game?
Yeah, and don't forget, if you actually swap Alonso with an actual left back, not a left, him being a left wing back, then that would also have a positive effect on David Luiz. And while I actually
we didn't have Conte and all that. No, Kante, I mean, sorry. If we didn't have Kante and,
Yeah, but we do.
Aspilicueta, Jorginho, yeah, I know, but they make him look better than he is. They like stop goals and stuff.
But still, Rudiger makes more mistakes than Luiz.
I think
Does he?
it's balanced.
Yeah, yes.
I don't think he does.
What everyone thinks of David Luiz, one thing that has been absolutely vital for us breaking down teams while we've only been passing, sideways, is that he can eye that pass. And we showed that.
We shouldn't rely on that, though. We should not rely on a centre-back for the passes. We've got Jorginho.
No, we shouldn't. That's why I want Leandro Paredes to come in, because he will speed things up. And that's lacking at the moment. But at the moment, we need Luiz for that. And his defensive frailties have gone back. If you compare him to 2 months ago, I would have agreed with you, Andy, but he has picked up after that one spat on Twitter or Instagram where someone was taking a piss and then he said, you know what, fuck off, more or less. And since then, he's been good, defensive. I know he was at fault for the Tottenham goal partially, but, otherwise he's been good.
Yeah, you're right. But I guess, talking about maybe a future game ended off. I was like, when we remind ourselves how we played against Arsenal and how dreadful that defensive performance was in, I think, the second game of the season. And David Luiz, speaking about organizing a defense, was absolutely all over the place. Defense was all over the place, and we played them again. And Arsenal had, a difficult spell in the last couple of weeks. But is it a game we have to win, or is it a game we are likely to win? What would you reckon, Laurenz?
I think we stand a good chance of winning that, because what we struggle with the most is breaking teams down. And I just don't see Emery doing that. Even Spurs did it against us, but I don't see Emery doing that. Like, even Spurs just like, all right, that's what they struggle with. We have quick strikers, so let's just hit long balls. The fact that we make Spurs do that, who are apparently title challengers, says enough in the first place about how bad Sarri is. But, I don't think Emery and Arsenal will do that. I think they will stick, majorly to what they usually do, try to pass out, even though they stop their pressing. Similar to us, Arsenal and ourselves are similar situations in a lot of things. I think they're just like a level below. But, they started off pretty well. They did some pressing, then they just stopped. We don't press anymore. I don't know why. We did press for a good while, but we barely do now. So I think we should beat them. I think we can beat them. But obviously, we'll just have to wait and see. I mean, we actually have to take our chances, basically.
Max is right. I'd actually say it's a must-win as well, because it's a six-pointer. It'd be extremely important for our top four hopes. If we win against them at the Emirates, then I actually think we will make top four. Manchester United's going to have an awakening at some point where, that good run's going to stop. So...
Oh, yeah. Like, we basically take them out of the top four, like the realistic top 400 if we beat them.
Yeah, that would be 9 points then, and that, I don't think, in the shape they're in, they couldn't recover from that.
Yeah.
But we shouldn't underestimate the strikers. I know they were shit against West Ham, but they kill you. That's
Yeah, they can decide the game on their own. Some quality we don't have up front. Yeah. But I reckon we are more likely to win, even though I think the last 2 games we've had at the Emirates, or the last 3, we haven't clinched a win in these ones. So something Sarri has to deliver to us, because Conte couldn't. Mourinho could. That's one positive thing.
He's the pundit on beIN Sports. Maybe that's a good omen.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's maybe some luck for us. But I think we can end it on that note. It was a brilliant podcast. It was nice speaking to all of you. Thanks for joining us. You can find these guys in the description below. The links will be there. It is CFCMaxx. It is Laurenz Vescoli. It is Jimmy Funnel, my co-host, and it is myself, Andy Martin. Thanks for listening. Tune in the next time. We will be on the YouTube, on the Spotify, on the iTunes when it is the next episode of the Attacking 3 Transfer Collab with Yannick on Chelsea, which will be aired on Friday. Until then, bye-bye and keep the blue flag flying high.